You know, another interesting aspect of white supremacy that I noticed, and I had an exchange today with a person who reacted to the last video that I made, is this idea of pride. So, one of the new ways that I've seen that white supremacists, in some ways, try to appeal to our emotions and try to play the victim. So this person today was repeating something that I've seen many, many times, in which they'll say, well, we're not, I suppose this is the new alt-right thing, right? Is it wrong for us to have a sense of pride in who we are and self-preservation as white people? And since we were having this exchange in particular as a white male Christian to a black male Muslim, my response would be, the Quran itself advocates for having a sense of pride in who you are because it's how God has made us. So, for instance, there's the famous verse, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. O mankind, we have, meaning God, we have created you both from a male and a female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And and from that, we have made you into what's, the plurals of shu'ub and qaba'il, which some people say nations and tribes or groups, or, we can get into the details about what that is, but essentially you've been made into different peoples. So part of the divine plan for the human being is that God has made us into peoples. So to answer this ridiculous question, right? No, there's no problem with you having pride in yourself as a white person or even perpetuating yourself. The question, and that's where I was saying earlier, right, with this issue of white supremacy, is that it's not enough for a white person to be able to have pride in themselves. Scottish, Swedish, Irish, whatever. This is not something that Islam has a problem with, something Muslims should not have an issue with. It made me think for a minute, because in America, it's very interesting. You have other groups, black folks, Jews, Asians, different groups that have a sense of self, have a sense of pride, even form groups based around, ethnic identity and so on. And yet none of us seems to be able to also have to make it where, in order to have a sense of pride, for instance, as a black person, this has to come at the price of other people. So the issue that I was telling this person is that it's no problem with you having a sense of self, right? But we were talking about, I guess, somehow Mexicans, immigration in America, and he was saying, do you want, Mexicans in America? I'm like, there's already Mexicans in America, and it may come as some surprise, not all of them are illegal, right? But the real thing that's being, trying to, again, this obfuscation, trying to slip something under, is whites and only whites have a right, or I would say an intrinsic right, to Americanness, where all others are subject to scrutiny one way or another, and then may be able to be legitimately denied that based upon their inherent non-whiteness. So, I just was thinking, like, wow, I obviously have pride in myself as a black person. I take pride in black heritage, and so on and so forth. And I have friends of mine who are Greek, Italian, Japanese, the list goes on. And I've never gotten the sense, or has certainly any of those other groups say, not only do I want to take pride in myself as a Jew or as a Greek or as a, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever the group, as a black person, right, that has to come at the expense of non-blacks. Let's say it's just talking about black folks taking pride in themselves. It's never had to come at the expense of non-blacks being able to be legitimately American, be in America, or even maybe expand, right? So this idea of, oh, there's going to be more Mexicans, or there's going to be more Muslims, there's going to be more Arabs, there's going to be more Pakistanis, there's going to be more Guatemalans, whatever that it is. So this is what the real case is. White supremacy is a hierarchical system that advocates and demands that only whites deserve to be the majority, and therefore they have a control because they see themselves again as the development of a civilization, even though, this person was saying, well, can a person be a Chinese person or an Indian person or an Arab or whatnot and dislike Islam and not be a white supremacist? And I said, well, of course. You can not like Islam and not be a white supremacist, and that includes for white people. Not all white people that may disagree with Islam are white supremacists. So this is not some kind of straw man argument. But rather, the issue that you're saying is that, for instance, when it came to Mexicans, right, that they somehow don't belong in America, and then you try to hide this and couch this and slip it in as some sort of appeal to emotion and try to play the victim, that poor little old white supremacist, right? This is somehow all getting in the way of you and your self-preservation and your sense of self. So you can have a sense of pride in yourself as a white person. You can even want to perpetuate your whiteness. It's just you're going to have to do that within the construct of making room for others, and that you do not have a special entitlement to be on the top. Some reflections from Sheikh Chef.